This is Margaret.
And this is Colleen.
And we're the Cousins Weird. And I forgot our intro for 2 seconds because
we just sat here like, wait.
We're still laughing from the episode
we
that
just recorded. If you haven't listened to our episode, a regular episode of this week, you should go listen to it because we were laughing the whole thing.
It was really great. It was
funny.
It was fun.
We're terrible trending.
Terrible trend number 59.
Yes, I'm pretty sure it's 59. Terrible trending.
Yes, it's my turn this week. And it's nothing... What
horrible hells does she have away from me now?
This is like... I'm just going to get into it because there's not a lot... Like, I don't know how to ease into this.
Just jump in. Let's do it.
I'm talking about sin eaters.
Ew, what's that?
Sin eater is a person who takes on the sins of a deceased person by consuming a food or a meal that had been laid upon or waved over the deceased.
What?
And the thought of this, it became popular in the 18th and 19th centuries, predominantly in Scotland, Wales, Ireland, and the English counties that border Wales. So,
okay, all my people.
Yes, our people. Sin eater.
Like friggin' nuts.
The
is
word,
what they are.
Yeah, the word sin eater is thought to have started in Wales because this is it's very prevalent in Welsh culture. Okay. Most sin eaters were paid a few shillings for the job of eating someone else's sins.
Yep. Okay.
And this would be the equivalent of a couple of dollars today. So they get a shitty meal and a couple of bucks to eat some
and then take on the sins of some guy's stuff.
Yes. The food or meal was thought to absorb the sins of the deceased. So they would either actually lay the food on the body
of the dead person,
and the sin eater would come, pull their chair up, and eat the food off of the person.
No, don't do that.
Or they would just wave it in front of the person and then hand it to him. A lot of times it was bread and beer, but sometimes it would be like a meal.
No, that's not. That's bad for you. That's not good for your health.
The food absorbs the sins, and then the person eats the sins, and the sins would transfer to the person who ate the food. I don't think sins work that way.
I don't think that's how that works.
I don't think that's how it works either. And when this started, it was done if somebody died suddenly and they were unable to confess.
Okay.
This was also thought to prevent the person who died from wandering or walking around.
Okay.
Dead. So they're like this
unresolved.
Person, right. So they're like if we have someone eat, and eventually it started out with just people who died suddenly, and then eventually it was like everybody who died.
Okay.
They would have them eat. They'd have a sin eater come and eat the food because they didn't want any ghosts. They'd open the windows to let the spirit through, and then they'd eat the sin, so they didn't have to worry about it. You know, it was like one of those kind of things. The profession of sin eating was important to the village.
Okay.
But the sin eaters were looked upon as horrible. Like with every sin, every person's sins that they consumed would make the sin eater more evil. So even though they were a necessary thing to the village, they were shunned and outcast.
Oh.
A person who became a sin eater usually out of poverty because they had no money to buy food. So, like, this way, they're getting a little money, and they're also getting a meal. And depending on where you live, there could be people dying every day. Right. You know? So you could get lots of food and a couple of bucks a time. So, I mean, they're not getting paid they're not getting paid what they should be getting paid. If you really were getting the sins of someone, yeah. And it's like the sin eaters would willingly carry these sins their whole lives with them. Like, so they would eat the sins and they would keep the sins. It's like, they're gonna die with the sins of all of these people on
So they couldn't, no one could couldn't do that for them.
Unless there was a new sin eater, and then they'd have a whole
that's a heavy meal.
That's a heavy meal right there. All the weight and none of the calories. Villages would have a sin eater to take care of the sins of the deceased, but the sin eater would live in solitude. They would live apart from the community. Okay, because they didn't want a big sinner. And they were usually living in abject poverty. Like, these people, if they had money, they wouldn't need to do what they're doing, you know? Right. It's like, they were looked upon lower than, like, a prostitute. Okay. But, I mean, they say God forgives all sins, so, like, how can you confess sins that you don't know? Yeah, I don't know what they are. I ate them. I ate this guy's sins, but I don't know what they are, but I like to be forgiven for them, please. Like, please, thank you. Yeah. And like, now this practice is mostly gone. I'm sure they're still, like, I mean, if you think about, like, you go to a funeral and they feed you.
Yeah.
You know, like, there's always a meal afterwards. And they think this might be where this stemmed from.
Oh, like yeah.
The whole eating
reception
of food
after, yeah.
Like, did it start, like, well, maybe I'm hungry, too.
How come he just gets to eat everything? I want some of that beer and bread.
I bet that bread's nice and heavy, because that guy was a terrible sinner.
Yeah. He was an asshole. I bet that has a heavy bread.
If you think about it, this is another way for rich people to be like, we can get into heaven, but you poor people can't, because you gotta eat my sins.
Yeah.
For me.
It's another way to just push people down a notch.
And, like, they're like, where did this custom come from? And it was mostly in, like,
Wales.
And, like, the British Isles, basically. Right. But in medieval times, nobles would give food to poor in exchange for their prayers for recently deceased people. So it might have started as, like, when somebody would die, the nobles would go out and they would give poor people food in exchange for them to pray for the person that died. So
okay.
I'll give you this, and you give prayers to Sir blah 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 McStuffy Snobbies, and so that you pray to God, and then he'll go to heaven.
Right.
And that's like the whole idea of it. There was also an Aztec goddess. You're gonna love this. Her name was Tlazoltaot.
Okay.
And it's spelled Tlazolteotl.
Okay.
Tlazoltaot.
I can't even say regular words.
Yeah. She was the goddess of vice, purification, steam baths.
Oh, very specific.
Lust, and filth.
How do you be a steam bath and filth?
It's like...
She's everything.
Yes. She was the patroness, or the goddess of adulterers. So, like, she represented cleansing and filth. Like...
Both.
Both. She represented that. The two sides of... Yeah, she's
duality.
A duality. When someone died, it was said that they could... Like, her name translates to sacred filth. That's what her name means.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I kind of like it.
I know, I thought you'd love it. When someone died, they would confess to her all of their wrongdoings, and she would cleanse their soul by eating their filth.
Oh, that's badass and gross at the same time.
So it's like, here's all of my horrible... I'm going to vomit up all of my horrible things, and she's just going to eat them, and then you're clean.
Wow.
Like, that's like basically a sin eater.
Yeah. So she's like the patron.
OG sin
she's
eater.
a patron. She's a patron of the sin eaters.
Yeah, and her name means sacred filth.
I love that.
It's
it's such a band name.
It's such a...
We need a band!
Yeah, it's such
Sacred
a metal,
Filth!
It's so metal. Sacred filth.
Yeah. That's our band name. Sacred Filth.
What's your name? Tlazo Taut.
Sacred Filth!
Yeah. But yeah, that's my
sin eaters. That's fascinating.
Yeah, so you can get all the fullness without any of the calories by eating the sins of others.
Or
all the weight and none of the calories.
You get all the weight of the sins plus fat from the bread and the beer. So, I mean, whatever.
They're not giving you fresh bread, I don't think.
Yeah, it's pretty stale. You have to dip it in the beer just to get it in.
They used to actually call it corpse bread.
Corpse bread.
They would take the loaf of bread, and they'd sit it on the...
That's disgusting.
On the body of the person that died. And then the senior would eat it.
Can you imagine? It stunk. They didn't do anything to prep the bodies.
They said it had to be recently deceased, but how recently? A couple of days. If it's summer, a couple of days is...
Yeah, that's not good for nobody. They didn't have refrigeration.
They usually tried to get people in the ground pretty quick, though, when they would die back then. They didn't let them sit around.
It stunk.
Yeah.
I can't imagine. First of all, back then, no one was bathing. So you're eating... Their body was filth. I'm sure, dead or alive. So it can't be good for nobody. It's just that's how the plague started right there. You want to know how?
Well, this was the 18th and 19th century.
Oh!
Yeah. So we're talking 17th and 18th.
I mean, they still didn't bathe
1800s.
well.
And they said this practice died off in the early 20th century. But it was probably
that lasted a long time, though, really.
I think a lot of it was the church kind of put a stop to it because, like, it was a big Catholic thing. Like, the Protestants were really against the whole idea of sin eating because they're like... oh no, you're taking this holy sacred thing away from God and putting it into a person.
Yeah.
You can't do that. I can't have that. That's sacrilegious.
Right. It was very pagan-esque.
Yeah, and then the priests were like, they're taking the focus away from the priest.
The priest be able to take the sins from people.
Right, because that's the priest's job.
They're like, we're supposed to get that money, not you.
Right. And
you're supposed to give us
But that's our job, not this poor, destitute heathen that lives
who's
on
like,
the edge
I'll
of
do
town.
anything at this point just to get some bread.
Right.
All right.
And most of the
you got a
sin
succubus?
didn't go
I'm
to
okay with that
church.
too. See how I tied that in there?
You gotta tie in the succubus. Yeah. Yeah, so that's the sin eaters.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
What kind of pictures are we going to have for this?
I found a picture of a painting of somebody with a coffin holding like rolls or something over it.
Okay. I was wondering if there was like a picture of the goddess, like a representation.
Oh, I should
of
have.
it.
I didn't actually think of it.
You should look that up.
Yeah, I will.
Because I'd be interested to see what
she looks
Sacred
like.
Filth looks like.
Sacred Filth.
I love that.
I want Sacred Filth on a t-shirt.
Oh, we should make a t-shirt.
Sacred
Filth!
Sacred Filth.
It'd be all like death metal written.
And then her name underneath, because like we're nerds.
Yeah.
And then how to say it.
Phonetically spelled.
What's that? Sacred Filth! Like, what does that say? Sacred Filth!
Yeah, but what does that say? I can't say that word. It's too
But
hard.
it means Sacred Filth.
It means sacred. Just go with it.
The Aztecs were badass.
So make sure that you're following us on Facebook and Instagram so that you can see the picture of Sacred Filth.
Yeah, because we're gonna put
She's
her
our
on there.
new favorite patron goddess.
We're not adulterers, but she's our patron saint.
Yeah, of Sacred
She's
Filth.
not a saint. She's our patroness.
Yeah, our patroness.
Yeah.
She's our patroness because she's
she
a badass.
represents cleansing and filth.
And that's kind of what we are. So you want to follow us on Facebook and Instagram so you can see those things, and you also can share our episodes with your friends through there because we post them on Facebook. They automatically get uploaded there.
And if you would like to reach out to us, you can send us an email at thecousinsweird@gmail.com. You have a story about a succubus attacking you? Send it on to us. We want to know.
Have you ever ate someone's sins? Tell us the story.
Yeah. Did you ever like put some bread on a person's deceased body and then wait for their sins to absorb into it and then eat it?
Yeah, tell us about that tale.
I hope that you didn't do that, but if you did, we'd like to know.
We want to know all about it.
We do. Yeah, send it on over.
If you want to support our podcast, the best way to do it is word of mouth. So tell all your friends, run around, scream in the streets, talk about Sacred Filth, because that's how people will get to know us better. But the other way to do it is through patreon.com/thecousinsweird for $1 a month. Become a freaky friend and you get bonus content and a sticker. And then for $5 a month, you're a terrible trender. You get bonus content, a sticker, a yearly gift, ad-free episodes, and a quarterly Skype.
I want to add something.
What?
To the episode that I forgot to mention.
What?
There's a movie called The Order, and it has Heath Ledger in it.
Oh, I
and
love me some Heath Ledger.
He's like a priest, and he's trying to fight a guy who's killing people, and the guy's a sin eater.
I love me some Heath Ledger as a priest.
And the website I was on is like, please don't watch this movie, just watch the trailer above. And I watched the trailer, I'm like, oh yeah, that's real high quality. It's real high quality film there.
Yeah, but Heath Ledger's cute.
Yeah.
And people are going to judge me for this, but sometimes when you put someone as a priest, they're hotter. I don't know what it is, the whole forbidden thing.
The forbidden fruit.
Yeah. Remember Christian Slater was the monk in that one?
Yes!
That was
The
hot.
Name of the Rose.
Yeah.
That movie was fucked up.
It was bad, but I mean, him as a monk.
Yeah, and he had his first sexual experience, and he was
I
like,
know, that is
what,
creepy.
17?
Okay,
On film. It was gross.
I forgot about that part.
Yeah,
That
it's
is
like,
creepy.
yeah, I actually had sex for the first time in that movie. I'm like,
That's gross.
that's just not.
We don't like that.
Ugh,
But anyway.
It makes me feel icky just thinking about it.
You ruined my whole thing now.
I'm sorry. For
I was
lying.
like, ooh.
But I
Heath Ledger's a
did
creepy.
watch Rose Red that was on TV in the 2000s, the early 2000s, and I never watched this Stephen King book. And they made a 3-part miniseries, and her boy is in it.
Which one?
Um,
We have several.
I sent you an email. Why can't I think of his name?
Oh,
The Warlock.
yeah. Julian Sands.
And he's really attractive in it.
Oh,
and then
man.
watching it, and I'm like trying not to be sad because he's dead.
He's dead. That's so sad.
He died. I don't like in the wilderness, like freezing
Missing.
to death.
Yeah.
He went missing in the California in the mountains hiking, and
You know how you don't have that happen?
don't go hiking by yourself.
Stay on your couch.
Get yourself one of those Pelotons. And then...
I actually am a big proponent of being out in nature and connecting with nature as much as you possibly can. But your couch will not
and if
freeze
you're
you
gonna
to
do
death.
something like that,
Don't do it alone.
When it's bad weather, and don't do it by yourself. I don't care how great of a hiker you are.
I mean, I can barely handle walking down the street when it's cold.
I don't even want to go walk on the Black River Trail by myself.
No.
Rapists. And
they're creepy.
Although,
succubus are out there. For sure.
My husband did give me a nice big knife to carry with me.
Something bad happened on the Black River Trail with someone I know. Like, they had to call the cops and everything. I don't know the whole story behind it, but don't go there by yourself.
I wouldn't anyway. I just said I wouldn't.
I don't think you should go
with
your children.
I went on a nature trail in the woods, and I was in the middle of the woods, and we were by ourselves, and I'm like, what is wrong with me?
Like, why did I do
me
this?
And my two little kids in the middle of the woods
alone,
where a murderer could come and kill us.
We listen to a lot of true crime.
I know, and I'm like, what is wrong with me? Fresh air is for dead people.
Yes, there's a reason why that's
100%.
being said.
And I'm like, and I told Ruben, and I go, and the next day he gave me a big knife. It made me really happy. Because he was concerned. And he's like, here.
Walk softly, but you carry a big
next time you go,
knife.
take this with you. And he gave me this giant, like, you whip it out. I'm like, I could gut a deer with this thing.
You're like, watch out.
I don't even know if this thing will fit in my pocket.
I was going to say, my luck, I'd stab myself in the leg with it or something.
But yeah, it made me like, aw.
He was worried about you.
He's like, here, you won't feel unsafe now. I go, I definitely
I
won't.
feel
feel
unsafe for myself.
But it closed it up. I closed it
up
myself. It's
like a pocket knife.
It's a pocket knife, but it's for a very large pocket.
I like it.
Yeah.
Does it fit in your pocket?
It does, but it's...
You should get
about when it's closed.
Clip on your belt.
When it's closed, it's this big.
Clip it on your belt.
Should.
Yeah. Fling it out.
Practice flinging it out so I can...
I don't think they work on succubuses,
It's
though.
stabby on somebody if they get too close.
Yeah.
Don't come near me. I have a big knife.
Succubus don't care, though.
No. A knife wouldn't work.
No. Handsy succubus, you can't use a knife on.
No.
All right, I think that's a wrap.
All right. Stay freaky.
Bye.
Bye.